Hey everyone, it's Abby from The Left-Handed Typist. Emily Mundell, and she has a new last name now that I cannot remember. She's having me on her blog to interview me for Independent Authors Week, or Independent Artists Week, I think is what she's doing on her blog, and it's really cool. So really honored that she asked me a lot of questions here that I'm going to answer for you guys today. And if you're seeing this on YouTube instead of her blog, I'll have the link down in the description. Emily's first question is, what got you started in writing? I've kind of written for as long as I can remember, so I think it was probably the combination of just learning how to write and watching movies, being read stories, reading stories, and always enjoying that. I guess I kind of kept a journal a little bit when I was little. So by the time I think I was 7 or 8, I was definitely writing stories, and several things Mom had me do in just our homeschooling thing involved writing stories because she knew I liked that. So I got into it really young, but it wasn't until I was about 15 or so that I got the idea for Art and Hospitality and started writing that in earnest instead of just doing scenes that popped into my head as they popped into my head for different random ideas on my computer. So having that one story idea is kind of what got me into writing seriously. So her second question is, what do you consider an epiphany moment where you decided this is what you wanted to do? That would be when I was, I guess, newly 17. I was in my senior year of high school, and I guess it was that fall of, I don't even know what that would have been. I guess the fall of 2015. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do college-wise because that was going to come up. That was coming up. I needed to know whether or not I needed to take our standardized testing and whether or not I was going to go to a college and get a degree. Well, I was never going to go to a college. It was going to be online if I was going to do it at all. So my dad started asking me those kind of questions and wanted me to really think about it and not just do college for college's sake, which is kind of all I considered doing so far. So as much as I liked the idea of getting an English degree, I decided I didn't need one because I was finally able to pinpoint, after like months of praying and trying not to stress out about it and getting all this mixed feedback from all of my very loving friends and family, I decided that writing novels, which I had just begun drafting Art and Hospitality at that point, and editing manuscripts is what I liked to do, and that if I did that, you don't have to have a degree to write novels, and I could continue just learning more for editing and everything, because you don't need a degree to do freelance editing. You probably would if you did it at a corporate publishing house. So I decided then kind of how I wanted to go. When I had to decide how, it's kind of when I decided what. So yeah, and that's basically what I've been doing since then. I do a bunch of hodgepodgey work too, like babysitting and accounting and such, but writing and editing are my passions. Her third question is, what inspired your first book, Art and Hospitality? I guess it was like the spring of 2015. I had this crazy dream, and I have dreams a lot, but it was really cool. It was a mix of like a Beverly Lewis novel I was reading at the time, and my aunt was moving to Kansas, and I don't know, it was about a pregnant teen who, yeah, I guess it was basically about this big family with mostly girls taking in this pregnant teen. It was kind of part of the gist of the dream, and that would not leave me alone. So I wrote down little bits of it that were like the general concept and everything, but I did not start drafting it in earnest until I think September. So I guess I've had kind of my 2-year anniversary of starting writing that, and that's really fun. She asks, what is my creative process in penning a novel? It's changed a little bit, but mainly I get some point of inspiration, or I would just pull from the plethora of ideas I already have for starting something new, and then for penning it, I usually outline at least a little bit. I cannot pants the whole way. or it falls apart in me. So I try and outline a little bit and mainly nail down the characters. I do character charts. Generally try to outline the process of the story, even if it's just like rambling through the storyline in a Google Doc or something. And then Google Docs is where I start drafting it when I feel like I have a good handle on what I generally want to do in the story. And at that point I start writing. I do write in chapters from the beginning. I enjoy doing that. That way I can keep some level of suspense kind of at the end of each chapter. That helps me keep it moving. And just kind of before I start writing each chapter, I try to just kind of bullet point what I'm going to aim to have happen in this chapter. Sometimes I get it all and need more content. Sometimes I don't get that far, and that kind of tells me what to do next time. But that's kind of my process for writing the first draft, and I usually have at least one friend, Ivy Rose, that I send it to. Sometimes I do more than that. As I write it, I'll send her the chapters. And that works really well because I get initial feedback that kind of gives me direction as I keep going. And I really enjoy that. That keeps me motivated too because she wants the chapters. So that's kind of how I write novels. And Pinterest, aesthetics, all of that I use as well. Yeah, that's basically it, I guess. And then she asks, what would you say is the key to the success you've seen in your own career? I don't know. Honestly, like, I try to analyze things and look at that, and like my sales were really good initially with Martin Hospitality. With the release, I had a whole bunch of people buy it, and it was really awesome. I think I've sold maybe 150 copies since it published in February, so that's been 8 months now, so I'm really pleased with that. That's a mix of paperback and ebook. Andorra's Folly has been published for like 3 months, and I've sold like 4 copies. So I don't even know, but it's also Andorra's Folly is not in paperback yet. It will be soon, before the holidays, hopefully. So I don't really know. I try to be consistent. I try to market some without being that person who's like, go read my book. But it's really hard. And I do have several social media accounts that I try to stay consistent on, keep kind of an author writing presence, even when it's not all about my books. I blog consistently. So I try to be consistent. And some things like that, I'm really not that consistent. I just did a blog post on that over at The Left-Handed Typist. But yeah, I guess I try to be consistent. I really try to keep relationships up. I reply to all the comments on my blog, which is a little zealous because sometimes I'm really late replying to them. And I will accept friend requests from people I have mutual friends with, even if I don't know them personally, on places like Goodreads, because I don't know, it doesn't really bother me there. Just to kind of have a wider audience and build relationships with new people. So I don't know, those are kind of my main things I do, but I don't really know what the key to success is, except God, I guess. I mean, honestly, he was so involved with the process of Martin Hospitality. I think that's why I felt confident that it was a good book and that it was a book I was ready to have published. I think that's the only way I found peace about it. And I think that's exactly why working on the sequel, it totally fell apart for me. It's like it was just not coming together. So I've set that aside for now. And then this new novel I'm working on, kind of about an actress, it's coming together so quickly because I'm pushing myself and it's coming, you know, God is working in it. So yeah, I don't know, that's so like abstract, but it's really amazing. Don't underestimate the power of prayer as you start writing and everything, because half of what I write I make up as I go, and I don't know where that's coming from except from him. So that's kind of, yeah, I know, sorry, not the most helpful answer there, but it's crazy. Maybe someday I'll figure out the formula. What is one thing or several you would like to see change about how the creative community is treated when it comes to working as an artist, especially an independent one? Honestly, I feel like we're given a lot of credit and opportunity, and I guess just a response. Like, I feel like I can't speak. I feel like we are treated pretty fairly when it comes to like entering contests and things like that. I just won honorable mention in the Reader's Favorite International Contest in the category of Christian fiction with Martin Hospitality. So, you know, it's like, that was amazing. It totally blew my mind. But, and that just goes to show me that, you know, they really were judging fairly. They weren't like, oh, it's indie published, we'll just, you know, they were honest, they were fair. So that makes me really happy. One thing I do see is that lots of independent publishing is not that quality, and so that's on no one but the independent artists themselves. So I wish people would not sacrifice quality so much. I know it's more expensive often to do things well, and things like that, but you know, take the time to do it right if you're going to do it, and get professionals to help you with it and do it right, you know, and give us a good name. You know, I do feel like people are like, oh yeah, indie publishing, but that also means they're impressed when you kind of meet a traditional publishing standard on your own. So I don't know, I guess I would say overall a more quality community, but that's on no one but ourselves really. So do you have any degrees or certificates in your artistic field? Are you pursuing any? I touched on this earlier. No, I do not have any degree. I do not necessarily plan to get a degree unless I think I need one to do what I feel like God is calling me to later down the road. I could do that via online college. At some point, I would like to take a certifying class for some sort of editing thing, maybe through Writer's Digest, or there's some other website that I can't remember right now that I know Kelsey Bryant used to get a certificate in editing. And so I might do something like that at some point. That's just kind of a crash course. But other than that, no, I'm content where I am, and I research a lot of things. I have lots of manuals and handbooks and Element of Style and things like that. And honestly, the most helpful thing for me has been beta reading for people before I started charging for editing, and having people beta read for me and just kind of seeing how that feedback back and forth works and knowing more what to watch for overall. So if you could eat only one dessert for the rest of your life, which would you pick? Oh, something chocolate. Maybe just chocolate. Yeah, I really love chocolate. Cappuccino mousse pie is also like extremely good, but it's super rich. I'm not sure how long I could actually have coffee pie, but it's really good. Yeah, definitely something chocolate. That's about as specific as I'm gonna get. What are your basic writing tools, computer program, notebooks, etc.? How and why do you use these things? I think I already mentioned I use Google Docs a lot. It's just Google's writing website, basically. I love that it's autosave and that it's easy for me to share documents from there with my friends just via email. I think it is a little trickier if you don't have a Gmail like email address, but I really enjoy using that. Otherwise, I use Word because I have a PC computer. I don't use Apple. I've never invested in something like Scribophile, even though I hear it's really good. I feel like I would obsess in like the detail and organization of that and never actually use it for my benefit. So I haven't done that. I also like My Write Club. It's a website where you can track your novels, or really any to-do list project thing you're doing, but it's mainly for writing. So I enjoy doing that to track things, and they have a really good sprint feature where you can do word wars, where you're battling against your friends to see who can get the most words in a certain amount of time, and it's on an endless loop of like 25 minutes or something. Yeah, I think it's 25 minutes with a 5-minute break is what the website is, just on an endless loop. And so you can join just a global one where whoever's on is on and you're warring them, and you can see everybody's like meters going up, and it's really fun. Or you can do it and get like a custom link that you invite your friends to do it with you. So that has some cool features that you could check out. I'm on there, I think, as Abby the author. That's usually what I'm on there as. So yeah, you should find me on there if you're going to do that. Otherwise, I do have some notebooks for plotting things. I do use character charts, which I get from Pinterest, I think. Go Teen Writers with or maybe it's Jill Williamson's website. She's one of the Go Teen Writer ladies. She has the best character chart I found. So definitely use that one if you're going to do that, to just help you plot your characters. Otherwise, I use Pinterest to have kind of like, collage things. I usually create a collage out of all the images I have on Pinterest. Not all of them, I pick and choose from my Pinterest boards for my books, in order to have a collage that I kind of promote the book with or whatever. So other than that, I think that's about it. And I just use them because I found that they're ways to help me connect with my stories more, and hopefully they're more productive than distracting. Pinterest kind of falls in the middle, so I have to be careful, but they are good tools to use, I've found. And then I'll listen to music through like Spotify or Amazon too. I have playlists on Spotify right now. Trying to see which question was next. Okay. Are you a more plot-driven or are you more plot-driven or character-driven as a writer? I guess I think this is part of the reason I have a hard time plotting, is because I have to have basically an even dose, but it's my characters that drive the story. Even though it's my characters that drive the story, and I really have to make sure I know what I'm doing with them. Oh, this is something I didn't mention. I use the Myers-Briggs personality types on my main characters to help me really get to know them. And so doing that, helps me kind of get in their head more from the beginning, that and the character charts. And so I have to really know the characters like that to be able to get anywhere. But at the same time, I have to know where the plot is going to be able to write anything, and the characters will just run around in circles, and that's a miserable feeling. So as long as I have some general concept of the plot written out, though, I can basically take my characters and run if I've gotten to know them well. So I guess character-driven. What advice do you have for aspiring young authors? It's a good question. I should have read that one beforehand so I could think about it. I guess, I've hit on a couple things. Be consistent in what you do. Don't be an overachiever, because I know that's how it goes at first, but consistency and being quality is better than doing not so great stuff all the time, whether that's social media or blogging or even publishing books. And just because you feel like you're on your own and you're doing this all by yourself and all of that, do not sacrifice quality. You can find people who will not charge you an arm and a leg in order to have more quality services like cover design and formatting. And you're going to have to be willing to pay some initially, but it really is worth it to have a quality book out there that people can truly enjoy in all aspects in the end. So I would say, really focus on quality and really listen to God too, to know how to have him in your stories especially. He'll kind of end up in there all by himself if you ask him to. That's been my experience. Okay, next question is, what is your favorite and least favorite part of the writing process? Getting kind of uncomfortable here, so I'm going to move a little bit. There we go. I'm holding up my mom's phone to film, so my arm is like falling asleep. Okay, favorite and least favorite part of the writing process. I'm going to say favorite, I really like basically anything involving characters. I also really like the feedback part, where I can talk about my story with Ivy or Katie Grace or whoever it may be, one of y'all on my blog type thing, and just seeing people's passions for my story before it's even published is kind of mind-blowing to me. And I really love just the interaction that comes out of all of that, and the excitement people have, and the encouragement, and constructive criticism as well. All of that is really awesome, and I love it. And then my least favorite part, I really hate self-editing, because I obsess. I'm a perfectionist, and it's like, how can I ever be sure that there is nothing wrong with this manuscript? And you just have to let it go at some point. and just be at peace with it. And that's kind of another piece of advice there. But also, you know, if you're diligent from the beginning, there really shouldn't be a whole lot to worry about. But, you know, it's like, oh, what if there's a horrible typo? Like, there's nothing you can do about it, you know, once you've sent it into your formatter and said, hey, my manuscript is done. So that part always really scares me because I am a perfectionist. But it's really awesome to be able to just kind of breathe and have my novel out there, too. It's really amazing once you get past that. Okay, so I thought I was going to be able to answer these quickly, but I'm only about halfway through. I just finished one sheet of paper, so. Next question is, who is someone who inspires your artistic career? That's a really good question. I may come back to that one, see if anyone hits me. I mean, no, I feel like there's got to be someone. Yeah, okay, I'll come back to that. I'll kind of keep thinking on it as I answer these other ones. Yeah. So the next one is, what is your favorite book or books? One of my all-time favorites, I have two all-time favorite classics that I'll share with you guys. One is An Old-Fashioned Girl by Louisa May Alcott. She's known for writing Little Women, but I really like An Old-Fashioned Girl. It has lots of the same kind of awesome qualities that Little Women does, about being, like, having lots of virtuous examples and everything in it, but at the same time, it's shorter, and I really relate to that main character. I've read it, like, I don't know, 5 times, and I don't reread books, so it's really good. I also love The Scarlet Pimpernel by Amuska Orczy. I'm sure y'all have heard of that one, and it's set in the French Revolution, and I really loved, like, everything about that story, so I've read that one, like, 3 times. Oh, what's another book I like? Those are, like, the 2 I always give, but one of my favorite series I will mention is the series of Unfortunate Events. You may have heard of it due to, like, the Netflix show that's now out, which is pretty good. And there's a movie version as well. But none of them have made it through all the books yet, because there are 13 books. You know, unfortunate. It's the unlucky number. So, but those are by Lemony Snicket. It's not his real name. But they're ingenious, and they're middle grade, and they're hilarious. And yeah, I really love them. You should look them up. I've read that entire series like 3 times. My dad's read it aloud to us before. It's really good. I enjoy it a lot. So there are, like, I guess 15 recommendations. Next question is, where do you see or want to see your career in 5 years? I guess just growing would be the main thing. I'd like to see my audience continue to grow on my blog and newsletter and social media. I'd like to have more novels published by then. I'm sure that will be the case. And maybe be traditionally published by that point would be really awesome, because I have decided I would like to be a hybrid author. I mean, I am wholly content being self-published, but being hybrid would just mean that I keep some self-published, but I would also traditionally publish as well. And so, having talked to an agent at the conference, kind of spur of the moment, at the Oregon Christian Writers Conference in August, I was like, yeah, I think I would really like to do this, you know? And it may not work out first time with Mr. Jensen that I talked to, but it's a really cool idea. So hopefully all of that would be the case in 5 years. And other than that, yeah, I guess that's basically it. I mean, having won awards and stuff had been on my to-do list, and now I have a reader's favorite honorable mention, which is amazing. So, but yeah, just things like that, and new opportunities and such. I go back and forth on whether or not I would ever enjoy, like, a speaking opportunity, a teaching opportunity, or not, like at a conference or a retreat or something. But yeah, we'll see. That would be something I would be, like, really honored to be asked to do at some point, but not something I'm gonna seek out right now. So anyway, Aside from writing, what are some of your other hobbies and talents? People ask me this, like, oh, what do you like to do for fun? I'm like, reading, writing, and editing. That's basically it. Watching BBC and Netflix, eating dried mango. I mean, like, those don't even count as hobbies or talents. I am not a creative person except for the field of writing. So I am not artsy, craftsy. I do enjoy knitting and crocheting, but I'm not very good at it. And I haven't done it in a really long time. Yeah. I enjoy baking or cooking. That's definitely something I enjoy doing. I don't do it a whole lot, but I'll have to be doing it more with my mom having a baby in December. So that should be fun. That is something I enjoy doing. So yeah, that's basically it. I'm fairly black and white. What's the next question? How have you managed your time to effectively create while still being able to do the other things you love, hold a job, etc.? Yeah, so my main thing would be between having a job and, which is not a, like, regular, consistent job I mentioned before. It's kind of like a do-anything job. So, effectively managing my time is just trying to have a schedule, but that's really hard with my job because I'm like, I don't know when someone's gonna ask me to babysit or something. But just kind of taking it, I guess, one day at a time, or trying to look at only 1 week at a time and being like, okay, so, I blog every Saturday, which means I have to do the post Friday night, if not before, and, I want to write, aim to write every day, so when that doesn't happen, it's not the end of the world. I still get a couple thousand a week, hopefully. I give myself deadlines for things like, editing manuscripts, and I really don't stress. I try not to stress about things either, but if I need to, I can stay up late getting things done. That's my productive hour. And yeah, I'd say the ball I drop most often is like Bible reading and scripture memorization, which is really bad. So just trying things like that I often like forget to do, and like practicing guitar, I forget to do that a lot too. Things that I know I am bad about remembering to do, I try to get done early in the day so that it can kind of be like, okay, I've done that, I can get it out of my mind and move on. But I can also, kind of start the day off right. So, and then I just, kind of at the beginning of each day, I'm like, okay, just trying to prioritize in my mind, like, what I need to do today and what it would be okay if I pushed till tomorrow or next week or what have you, because something could come up, or maybe I just don't want to work all day. So I guess trying to keep like a balance of order and flexibility, really. What is something you would like to see change in the creative community? I feel like she already asked me a question that was kind of like that, but I don't know, like, in my creative community would be writing and editing, so, I guess besides, like, the overall quality of self-publishing, like I mentioned, I feel like I had an idea the other day, but I'm trying to remember what it was. I don't know. I'm fairly happy with how things work, but I feel like it could be easier to find people charging more average, reasonable rates. That's one of the scariest parts to me initially, is like trying to find someone who can do the cover design and do the formatting and do this and do that for a fee you're willing to pay. That will be what you want. So I feel like there's got to be a better way to connect and find those people, and maybe I just haven't found it yet, but I have been very happy with everyone I've used so far, and that's just come through word of mouth of mutual friends and who they trusted and used and could afford. So I guess kind of narrowing that breakdown between the super corporate prices still for all the services, and the indie publishers are like, I don't want to pay $700 for you to edit my novel. Like, no thank you. So, but at the same time, you don't want to shortchange anybody. Do you ever have times of self-doubt and worry that you find hard to get through concerning your creative career? Do you mind sharing about them? Kind of mentioned before, my perfectionism of, like, actually being done with a novel is really scary for me. Like, it's great when I'm still forming it and getting all this feedback, and it's great, and I'm changing things, and it's getting better, but at some point, it's not just better, it's finished, and you can't change it again without, like, re-uploading everything and re-releasing it. And so, yeah, being done is really hard for me. When I was trying to write the Martin Hospitality sequel, this, I guess it was like March to August, I was trying to write that, and I got a decent amount of words down, and nothing had happened. And I was like, oh my word, what if Martin Hospitality was like a fluke? What if that was it? Like, that is my writing career. What if, yeah, I'm never going to be able to write like that again? Like, that was a really horrible feeling, and it really freaked me out for a while. You know, because at first I, like, burned out, because I went straight from publishing back into writing. I thought that publishing instead of writing counted as my break, and it really didn't. So, yeah, that was scary. But with this other book, I'm really seeing that, you know, there's just certain projects that aren't going to come together when you want them to. And it's not even the most logical next thing to be working on. Like, it makes sense to go ahead and finish the series I've started, not to go off into trying to traditionally publish this totally different story. But hey, it wasn't my call, and it's going amazing. Like, super amazing. So, yeah, that's kind of been some of my areas where I've freaked out a little bit. And I've gotten myself into, like, deadline crunches and things that are, you know, mainly self-imposed, and I had to move the publication date of Martin Hospitality from December to February, and I still barely had everything up and on the website because I didn't know what the timeline looks like for self-publishing. Nobody tells you that. So I have a self-publishing checklist now on my blog that people can look at that kind of gives them an estimate of how long each step takes and what order to do the steps in. Like, I had no idea, and that took me forever with Martin Hospitality to figure out. It took me almost as long to publish it as it did, and, like, revise it and everything, as it did to write it. So, thankfully, I can do that a little faster now, but it's still trying to line everything up and schedule it out kind of stresses me out a little bit, because you want to give people a date at the end of all of that where it's like, here, this is when you can get my book. Yeah, it's really hard. What is your biggest dream relating to your creative career? I mean, honestly, getting a huge award, like I said, is just, you know, kind of the epitome. Or, you know, like, I guess, honestly, like, having an award is right up there to me than hitting, like, New York Times bestseller. So, you know, it's like, what's the, you know, that's not a huge difference to me. And I've already won one award with Reader's Favorite, whereas, like, New York Times bestseller is, like, way up there, you know, as far as goals, but I would love that. And, yeah, and then being, like, featured sometime, you know, being to that level of famous where you have this huge community, or you are the one being asked to speak at things and come do things, and that's just, like, super amazing to me, because that's the kind of ministry I enjoy. So, yeah, I hope that made sense. What do you feel has been a defining moment in your career so far? Definitely getting the Reader's Favorite Award. That was, like, blew my mind. I had no idea I could even be, like, to that level yet. I'm completely amazed. It seems like there was some other, I guess, the agent being interested in my work just from me, kind of rambling about this random idea I had was also a huge defining moment that kind of completely turned around how I looked at my writing and even what project I was working on, and also kind of got me out of the rut and back into, like, hey, maybe I should actually ask God to help me with this, because then, you know, if he's on board, things will go more smoothly, he will be in the book, and it'll be like, oh, much better. Yeah, so that was a huge kind of just turn around and where I was. But otherwise, I would say the award has been a huge encouragement and kind of a landmark for me. And that I just got that on Sunday, so it's been pretty fun. What do you feel is the hardest part of being an independent artist? There are only 2 more questions after this, so hang in there. I think exactly that you're an independent artist. You say artist, and people are like, oh, poor you. So what's your other job? And while there's an element to that, it really doesn't have to be that way, like, in the long run. I hope to at some point be at the stage, this can kind of go in with my dream thing, where I can support myself just with writing and editing. So, we'll see. But I feel like at the same time, people are either, like, oh, poor you, what's your other job? Or they're, like, in complete awe of you. So, I feel like it is hard because when I say, no, I'm not going to college, but I published a book, and I read my friends' books before they're published. I get paid to do that and tell them what's wrong with it. You know, it's like, that is not normal. It's not normal. And because it's not normal, people look at you like, oh, wow, okay. Or, again, they're, like, super duper amazed. So, there's those 2 spectrums, and my mom's getting a call. Hold on. There you go. And, I don't know how we're ever really gonna change that, but I feel like overall the independent artist type community is getting more, headway into just being successful, and still, it's a very worthwhile part of, humanity, really, of society. That's the word I'm looking for. So, I'd say one of the hard parts is the initial reaction just not being very positive. What is the most rewarding part? I guess the amazement and the appreciation and enthusiasm people have who are like, I could never do that, you're so awesome. Like, who doesn't want to hear that? It's really amazing. And people who will go out and buy your book or recommend you or whatever to support you, like, that really tells me that they do mean it and they're following through. And, you know, that means a lot to me because it doesn't sound like a lot to do for someone, but not very many people do it. So it's really amazing. And last question. Finally, where do you see your career heading in the near future? Any big changes or excitement ahead you're looking forward to? Well, I was looking forward to having another book out in the Martin Hospitality series, and I don't know that that's happening anytime soon. So now I'm looking forward to what this award can kind of do for me, how I can spin that to help me with marketing and overall, like, I guess, I don't want to say sales, but like exposure, I guess. And in the near future, also maybe landing an agent or, landing an agent and getting kind of more into the traditional publishing route. And I think that's basically it. Yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching. This is definitely the longest video I've done so far, but Emily, those were amazing questions. Thank you so much for asking them. I love doing this kind of thing. And I hope that was helpful and enlightening to you guys. And if you have any further questions or want to interact, you can do that in the comments down here on Emily's blog. Or I'm over at The Left-Handed Typist. You can go to YouTube to leave me a comment, whatever you want to do. But I would love to interact with you guys, and y'all have a good day. Bye.